I'm Sora Luxon, and this is magic lesson number 44, light and dark magic recapped, I suppose. First, a blessed Samhain Sabbath to everyone. This is going to be a short YouTube podcast today because we're all very busy on this day, right? Witches' New Year, a day of high occult energy everywhere, no matter how we practice it. So as the days deepen and the veil draws thin, I'm probably not the first to get to do this, but let me be one of the many to wish you a happy All Hallows Eve. If we're going to progress forwards into a new cycle, it's best to answer some questions first from the old cycle. So the message asking recently about whether the Lux Shop's Apocalypse candle from the 3-candle set is a good candle for Saturn workings. Yes, it is, right? I imagine you're asking because you recently purchased that or you've just listened to the YouTube podcast on Saturn planetary magics. Your intuition is right on. If you don't have a black candle handy in order to do Saturn planetary magic workings, the Apocalypse candle you already have is going to be the best one to use for that from that specific set. It's going to be the best option. Certainly better than Supernova, which, as you mentioned, is more likely to call on star-like qualities than planetary ones. And also, on today of all days, let me thank you all so much for all of your kind words. You know who you are. I'm still every new day of my own magical practices, after years of them, in awe of how amazing the occult community is from all sorts of very different traditions and backgrounds. Occultists are just wonderful people. A day doesn't go by without someone wonderful or some wonderful individual taking the time to leave a lovely review on the shop, on something they've purchased, or to send me a thankful email directly, or a message about a quick story of how magic has helped them and how grateful they are to have come across my shop or my channel. So thank you, all of you. Your generosity of spirit and action is breathtaking. I know of 5 people who have started adding a daily Dharma wrapper practice to their daily rituals just after having me mention it. And that is inspiring to me, as you yourselves are. I thank you for your daily works. The universe thanks you, right? I happen to be part of it. But you likely already felt that while doing it. You probably got a taste of that already, which is why you're still doing it and probably always will, just like the rest of us. A quick shout out to my new Italian and French subscriber as well. It's incredible to me to be confronted with the actualization of my little shop and channel having such a positive effect for people who are half the world away. Thank you. I'm at 40 something subscribers now, I think. That's amazing to me. That's incredibly humbling. Thank all of you every day. On today of all days, right? Let me thank you for your constant decency, positivity, and fearless openness of spirit. It is my great privilege and honor to be of what service I can be to every one of you. It means so much to me. Every little message and comment, I read them all. You should know that. I can't say it enough. All of the kindness and encouraging words that get sent, it truly is humbling. And yes, as more than one person has noted recently, I really do love what I do. Everyone should. But occultists seem to be the lucky few who really start to comprehend that principle in loving what we do is what our focus and energy flows from, right? It's where that focus and energy can flow into and through what we're doing, allowing it growth, passion, and to be what it ought to be, to come into the highest realization of what it can be. Magi are great at their jobs because we choose the jobs we want to have. We usually have more than one. I know I do. Whether you're a Wiccan tattoo artist or an ovate arbor engineer or a Luciferian physicist in a lab, or it's that we love what we do. And then having the great courage to take the risk of doing what we love that reveals how powerfully good we are at it. Now, for the one person who recently asked about a discrepancy of, I think, description they were having with someone and what black magic is, or in doing black magics, today's title for the lesson, Light and Dark Magic, I think the problem you're running into with the person you're discussing this with, the conversation you are having with them, is that sometimes black magic is inaccurately assumed as baneful magic just because of its label. Someone who doesn't have a background in a formalized tradition or hasn't researched different occultic traditions, right? A lot of people don't. They're going to assume that all black magic is bad. It's based on their own past experience, perspective, probably narrow perspective, because they're assuming that black or dark means baneful. It means bad or evil, which of course it doesn't. Baneful means bad. Baneful means bad or evil, or as close as you can come to it, right? Black or dark doesn't mean that. It's a common mistake for non-practitioners, non-initiates to make. And unless the person's interested in becoming an occultist for themselves, it's probably not worth your very valuable time to explain the difference to them or to try to attempt to explain it. All Saturn magic and most Earth magics are black magics, right? But they, of course, aren't baneful or bad. Someone who doesn't practice magic is going to have a difficult time coming to an understanding of that. But again, you can try to explain it if you want. Of course, that choice, like all free choice, is yours to make, and there are lessons to be learned there. Engaging in an argument like that with someone who's less informed, it isn't really fair in the first place since they don't actually know what position they're fighting their corner from. But it also isn't something I really do or suggest others do. But to each their own. Anyway, my guess is that that's the mental hiccup that this disagreement is based on, or that this disagreeable person is running into when you talk to them about it. It's a common mistake that people make. In their mind, dark, baneful, black, evil all mean the same thing. They're all the same word, which of course they don't. They aren't the same word. They're different words for a reason, and they don't mean the same thing. It's like how a square is a rectangle, but not all rectangles are perfect squares. Most baneful or harmful magic is black magic, but it doesn't work the other way around. It isn't also true that most black magic is bad. There is a huge realm of black magic that isn't baneful magic. Black magic doesn't harm or cause harm. That's baneful. That's what bad, baneful magic does. Black and shadow working is entirely necessary, completely required to come into oneself as an occultist. But you can see how confusion would occur there for someone who isn't doing that. Black and white magic, as terms, are simply two labels to define two polarities of energy. On the Kabbalic tree of life, for example, the negation, the pushing away, occurs on the pillar of severity, aka black magic, the black pillar. The positive pull occurs on the pillar of mercy, the white pillar, aka white magic. So whether you're doing white or black magic in this specific contextualization has to do with whether you're pulling things to you, say like love and resource. If you're pulling those to you, you're doing white magic. Or pushing things away from you, like fear and poverty. If you're pushing fear and poverty away from you with a spell working, that's actually a negation magic, a dark, a black magic. Pulling towards you a polarity of draw, positive charge, that's white magic. Pushing things away from you, a polarity of push, a negative charge, that's black magic. But see, that isn't harmful or evil or bad or something you shouldn't be doing. All waning moon magics are black magics. For instance, that doesn't make them evil. That doesn't make them baneful magic. Baneful magic is magic that causes harm. And it generally does use Saturn and black magics, that negation pull, in order to accomplish those baneful, harmful intentions, which hence is why, right, people think that black or dark always means bad or evil when it doesn't. Also, it takes an agreed upon context and evaluative open debate and discourse to even discuss whether there is a difference between black and white magics philosophically, right? Like at that higher level of conversation, to even talk about that at all, which very informed individuals still have different opinions about. Like high practicing occultists will debate that issue. Regardless, discussing this requires somewhat of a higher, more patient and intellectually adaptive frame of reference than most people, especially someone who's already disagreeable, is going to have. So why not free up your time to do something more worthy of your abilities? That's what I'd say. Walk away. You don't need that conversation in your life. Learn to make a really good chocolate ganache. I'm thinking about candy. Of course I am. It's Swain. We're all thinking about candy. Or read Dante's Divine Comedy. Learn a language. Learn how to play guitar. Do an extra middle pillar meditation if you have that extra time. I don't know. Everybody has their own things. This is whatever's coming off the top of my head. You know what I mean. Do you. Do what improves you. Serve yourself before trying to serve someone who can't hear what you're saying, no matter how long you speak. Magic 101. It can be a difficult lesson to learn, but it really is worth learning. The really important thing to remember out of all of this, whether or not, you choose to try to explain the differences to someone who isn't a practitioner or not, remember, the takeaway is always don't do baneful magic. Do all the black magic you want. You'll need to. You'll need to work with and balance out both poles in order to become centered, grounded, and harmonized as a magician. Hence the entire consistent Lux energy practice of the middle pillar to gain and hold the middle position, to become the balance of opposites of the poles. But never do baneful or harmful magic, because, like I've said over and over again in these little podcasts, all energy closes its circuit. That energy, that circuit is going to close. It's going to come right back to you. And last, it's October 31st, so if you can, show some love to your ancestors, whether by bloodline or magic line, right? Your previous mentors in passing. This is the most auspicious time to reflect on those who have gone before us and what they have provided, that foundation that we then have the great joy and privilege of building upon. Entirely separate from my own formal ceremonial rituals and mentor line, I'll be lighting candles to Beethoven, Nikola Tesla, and Marie Curie. Until next time.